Welcome to the EdTech Unpacked podcast, where we inspire and equip educators to create meaningful learning experiences, highlighting a thoughtful approach to the integration of technology as we teach and transform the lives of our students.
We are so glad that you're joining us in this episode where we will be talking about how to bring your paper assignments and other resources into the digital world.
My name is Aaron Long, and I work at Burton Adventist Academy, where I have also been teaching for over a decade and now work in the area of development and advancement. I'm a proud graduate of Southwestern Adventist University. I have a bachelor's degree in religious education and a minor in psychology. I received my master's in instructional design and technology from Walden University in 2017, and I have a passion for leading and inspiring educators, especially in the area of thoughtful integration of classroom technology.
I'm Desmond Suarez, and I work at Richmond Academy, where I am right now, where I have been teaching for over a decade. I teach religion, social studies, computers, and videography, and I am a proud graduate of Southern Adventist University with a bachelor's in religious education and a minor in computers. And I have my master's in instructional systems and learning technology from Florida State University. I really love helping people learn so that they can fulfill their greatest potential and finding the best tools to accomplish this. So, Aaron, when I started teaching, we were blessed because the school had just moved to one-to-one MacBook Airs. This was over a decade ago. And I loved it. I tell you what, I drove my students a little crazy. This was still the time in which, I don't know if you remember, on the pre-formatted lesson plans that you would get, or a teacher assessment, they always had, did you integrate technology into your lesson plan? I'm glad to see that less. I know it still happens, because it's not just about having technology. And yes, this is a technology and education podcast. We love technology. But I'm a bigger fan of great teaching than great technology. The technology is only great if it enhances the teaching. And man, I was using a lot of technology that was not enhancing my teaching. I was wearing my students out. I'd do multiple online discussions every class period. I was exhausting them. And so, but there are a lot of legendary teachers who have amazing lesson plans that they have developed and gathered over the years, and activities and worksheets that are on physical paper. And, I'm not young anymore, but young in when I started teaching, I had one-to-one laptops my second year, right? So I didn't develop the catalog of paper that I know a lot of teachers have. And so I find it a little insulting to these legendary teachers, and maybe you listening are one of them. Good. I'm a big fan of yours. There is tons of legendary teachers who it's a little insulting sometimes, I feel like, to say you had to throw away all your paper, all of those assignments you have used your wisdom to develop over the years, and you just have to throw it away and start over because it's not on a computer. And so, yeah, it is good to refresh and replace old assignments and methods. Don't get me wrong. All of us teachers have gotten stagnant, and we often need that nudge to be like, all right, you've done that lesson too many times. You've done that assignment too many times. It's not fresh anymore. But isn't it better, instead of just crumpling it up and throwing it away, to maybe enhance it, lift it up, redevelop it, instead of starting over?
I love what you're going for here, Desmond, and particularly the legendary teacher terminology. This is real. I mean, we all work with legendary teachers. I don't think I'm a legendary teacher by any means. But
I've never been taught by you, so I can't argue.
Well, just trust me on this one. It's what I aspire to be.
Very good.
But when I think of a legendary teacher, I think of somebody who exactly what you described. They have such a valuable database of resources they've worked hard to create. And that's why I'm excited for this episode, is to dive in a bit and see, what are the tools and resources to take that database and not ditch it, but to enhance it. And that's the other piece that I'm excited to dig into with you today, because it's not about starting over. We often do that. We find a new tool and we want to ditch what we did and start over. It's really about incremental changes. So I know that's what we have coming up here today in this episode. And I'm excited to just explore that with you.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah. Some other examples I've thought of, and please throw in any you have, is like when you get, textbooks, and I haven't taught with a physical textbook in a while, but at the end of each lesson or throughout the textbook, it has these questions, right? And I remember my teachers would tell us go to the end of the chapter and do questions 3, 4, and 7. Or whatever.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Social studies, science.
Yes.
Exactly what we did.
Yep. And I'm just certain there's still new textbooks and teachers that are doing that are being published right now.
100%.
But, isn't it better if you could get those questions out of that textbook? And yes, you can type them, but let's find a way to digitize it in the easier way, because going every day and typing the questions you want, you don't need that in your life. You need a quicker way. Or the worksheet books, the big books, and they're still very useful in elementary, especially lower elementary. And so I'm not advocating getting rid of those, but as you get to high school and stuff, having those, and I don't know how common they are in high school. I haven't seen them in a while, but the thick worksheet books that you get, and each student gets one and they have to fill it out throughout the year. Or archival materials. So I have a newspaper over here that is, from when the Challenger blew up. My dad had collected that and he gave it to me. And so having that kind of resource, I want to keep it physically, but also having a digital version of it is valuable. Students' work, finding ways to digitize that. And I think probably the most common one is the worksheet that you have that you either typed and developed. I remember being so impressed when my teachers would go on the typewriter and make their own worksheets on the typewriter. And it's a
labor of love.
It's a labor of love. I really felt like they cared about that lesson when I got a custom typed worksheet from my teacher. And so, but we have those worksheets that, it's probably a great worksheet, or maybe just needs a little finessing, a little updating, but is great to still use. Can you think of any other examples?
Well, I mean, the assessments is a big one. I think you've really touched on where that all comes from with the resources, but the tests and quizzes that teachers have created over the years, it's, I remember back to being a student once again, and I had 2 older brothers, and we kind of would talk about sometimes, I wonder if you're going to get the same test that I took, because you just know how these teachers do things.
And you'd see them white it out or erase it.
Or rearranged a little bit,
cut it out.
Literally cut out and photocopied, and you can see the lines of where the photocopy was.
And if you're still doing that, we love you. We think you're amazing. We're hoping that we're going to help you make it even better now, but
yes,
you're amazing.
That's right. You're legendary.
Legendary.
So we're going to help you expand on your resources. So, quizzes and tests. That's what I think of.
That's a good one. So I want to show you guys I think a really great method. It's a simple method. It almost feels like when I demonstrate it, the demonstration almost finishes too quickly. So we don't like to do a lot of tutorials on this podcast. That's not the kind of content we're creating. Although it's great, there's a ton of great tutorials. But I'm going to do a quick tutorial because this is something that is easy to do, and I think you're going to find it useful. So let me record on my phone screen, and All right, so I'm going to demonstrate this. I have a worksheet, and I actually created it myself for this demonstration about the Reformation. I love teaching the Reformation. I'll be teaching in the beginning of this year. But this is an assignment that it's a mock assignment that I have printed out. Maybe I've copied it a dozen times or more, and I want to be able to digitize this because now we're in a computer world where the students are doing and submitting their assignments more and more frequently on their devices. And so I'm just going to take a picture. All I'm doing is just my camera app, taking a picture. Okay. And now from my picture, I'm going to share it with Google Drive. Okay. And I'm just going to I created a folder on here. All right, now I'm done with my phone. That's all I need to do on my phone. I could do more on my phone, but I don't need to. Now I'm going to record on my computer screen so you guys can see that. And so now I am in that Google Drive folder where I was demonstrating, and I have a PDF I'll show you in a minute, but this is the picture that I just took. There it is. Not even a great picture. Not very straight. You can see other things in the picture. And I'm going to go open with, oh, it's not there. I guess I have to go this way. Oh man, if you change this, Google, there it is. It wasn't showing up in the other scene. I've done demos before with Google stuff where in the morning it worked, in the afternoon it didn't. So, or it changed, but this time it's there. Hopefully it is when we publish. It's been this way for years. I've been showing people this example for years. So I right clicked on this picture I took, open with Google Docs. And now we'll give it a minute to process, but it's going to do OCR on this. And OCR is object character recognition. I forgot it for a moment. And so it grabs the text out of that image. Now, you'll see that it retains some of the formatting. It has all the words. And so, but what I'm just going to do, I'm going to format this really quickly. You could spend a little more time or less time. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. I did Control or Command A, highlighted the whole thing. I'm going to clear my formatting. And I have my text in here. I can do whatever I want with this text, but I'm going to do some quick formatting. I'm going to change the title to a title. I'm going to change the sub. And what I'm doing is in the menu, just using the defaults to a subtitle. Oh, that might be too big. Let me change that. I'm going to try and not get obsessed about my formatting because I love my formatting.
Desmond's doing this. I just have to mention, I didn't know till he showed me this recently that Google did OCR. And so I thought we were just snapping and uploading pictures. And so that to me was even like, wow, that's amazing, because you used to have specialized apps to convert it from an image to text that's editable. So I think that's a really power user feature. It
is a really awesome feature. I've checked out a bunch of different ones. And they're continually changing, but this has been the one that has worked the best. You'll see there's no even spelling mistakes, which means it captured all the words. So now I have a timeline that can be a little tricky. And so I have the question here, but I don't have the timeline. I have the words and stuff from the timeline, and it even tried to interpret the arrows and made them a K. But I'm going to do a little trick, and maybe I'll do a longer tutorial on how to do this later, but insert drawing. You don't have to get this fancy, but I want to show you real quick. And you can get fancier. I'm going to draw a line from one side to the other. And I'll try not to obsess about it being too straight. I'm going to make it thicker. And I don't need that extra line. And then I'm just going to put text box on this end. That is the beginning date, which was 1450. And then the ending date, which was 1550. And I apologize for those that also insist on having perfect formatting. I agree. It just takes me a few more minutes. Okay, now I'm just going to leave this there. And now the students have have this timeline. And the cool thing is if they double click on it, they can edit and they can add the things to it. And so inserting Google Drawing in there is really, really pretty cool. Now I can get rid of this. That's the copyright. It's good to put that at the footer. For now, I'm going to delete it. And there, I have my worksheet. Now I could, spend a little more time formatting or not. And I can share this out. When I share it with my students, I want to make it viewable by all people. Don't give them edit access. Make it viewable by all people or share it directly with them. So I often will share these Google Docs by giving them a link in an assignment on our learning management system, Schoology. And then they make a copy of this document. And that copy, then they can edit and they submit their version. But you can also, make changes. Say you have a paper document, you still want them to do it on paper, but you have this, difference you want to make. You want to add a question, change a question. You could get out your whiteout and nice pen and handwriting and fix it that way. Or you can do this, change what you want, and then click share. Now you saw on there that I also had a PDF, and just so you know, I could also do a PDF, and I believe it does a little better job. So I'm going to do the same process, open with. If you have the PDF, and what I mean is not a picture you turn into a PDF, that should work the same as the other example, but an actual PDF, you'll see that it maintains more of the formatting. It still didn't include the timeline, so you don't want to create that the way I showed you, but it has the picture and this is, it didn't used to work this well. It has the image and the formatting like what I had on the on my original one. A different font, although I like that font. I don't know what it is. Lemon. So that is, I think, an awesome way to take your legendary assignments, that those questions at the end of the chapter, like I mentioned, take a picture of those and then open with, and then delete the questions you don't want, change the ones, add the ones, because they're often not exactly what you want. Or we've all found them typos or wrong questions. Like it's almost the right question, but then the textbook manufacturer made a mistake and now it's unusable because it is wrong. And so it allows you to use it how you want.
And, I'll just mention this too. You talked about Schoology, plenty of other LMSs out there that schools are using. A very popular one, Google Classroom. Just to note, when you assign those Google Docs into Google Classroom, it automatically creates a copy for every student as part of the functionality. So it's kind of embedded in the function. And
you can do that with Schoology. Their implementation I found a little cumbersome and problematic for me, and so I just give them the link. But yes, there's a bunch of the Google Docs are super flexible in how you give them out to your students and deliver them.
Great workflow, real simple. I mean, anybody watching that, hopefully you're saying to yourself, I could do that. And so, I'm thinking about this from a legendary teacher standpoint. If I'm you and my stuff is all in print and I'm looking at the mountain of digitizing, I'm thinking, you know what, year one, I'm just going to get it digital. So every assignment that comes along, if I have a resource, I'm digitizing as I go. Year two, I'm enhancing. I'm taking what I've already digitized, it's ready to go. Maybe I'm improving format. Maybe I'm adding additional content, but I'm improving what I've already created. So don't think you've got to take it and raise the bar year one. You're just wanting to convert things over. So make it manageable. And I think that workflow you just showed really is.
I like that. I remember a piece of advice that I want to add on to that that's helped me out is, and I remember hearing this when I first started teaching from, again, a legendary teacher, I don't remember who it was. I think I was maybe on a podcast or in a book. I can't remember. But they said, don't feel like you have to, enhance and improve and make all your assignments expert awesome right away. Like pick, one a day, one a week, pick the ones you can, or maybe like one class, I'm going to enhance this one class, or, find a pattern and don't feel like you have to do all of it at one time and you're going to enhance that, or you're going to digitize that and you're not going to have to do the whole thing. And the nice thing is once you have done that, you have it and it's so easy to reuse and then continue to enhance, continue to improve. It's not a one and done. It's a forever thing.
All right, Desmond, we're going to take a look at another workflow here.
Please.
So I'm a big fan of Genius Scan. I'm sure we have some Genius Scan users out there. And so I'm going to launch Genius Scan. It's a simple app that runs on your phone. And so I'm going to go ahead and record my screen so we can share this as well and allow you to follow along. All right, so we're going to use Genius Scan here. I'm recording my phone screen, and my paper-based test is sitting down here on my coffee table. And you can see what happened there. As I went to take a picture, the app recognized the edges of the paper. And so it kind of grabs that. It auto crops it for you. If you were doing a color worksheet, you can actually toggle this to color, but it detected that this was a black and white worksheet. And so I'm going to go ahead and just name this as sample worksheet. And
this, I'm guessing, the advantage really of here is if you have something that has a lot of formatting to it and you're not wanting it to be in a Google Doc, this will retain more of the formatting, and then you can turn it into a PDF and have that as a digital resource, right?
Yeah, and that's a great distinction there. I'm actually not going to OCR this either. You could take it and do exactly the workflow that Desmond has shared. So you could combine these. You could use Genius Scan and then upload from Genius Scan to Google Drive and OCR it there. But what I wanted to share with you is a different type of workflow, and that would be using this process to then upload your worksheet or your assessment into an assessment platform, many of which now allow you to upload PDFs. And so from this screen, I'm going to go ahead and share. And on an Apple device, you can airdrop things. So I'm going to just airdrop over to I clicked on the wrong button. So I'm going to airdrop this, and I'm going to drop it over to my MacBook.
And the services you're about to show, they'll OCR it in those systems?
Some will.
Okay, that's cool.
What I'm going to highlight today actually doesn't. And it may have that feature down the line. In fact, they have added an AI assessment creator piece that very likely does. I haven't tested it, but I'm going to go ahead and jump over now, and we're going to jump onto my MacBook, and we're going to go to a service called EdgeElastic, which has now been rebranded for many of you that are familiar with EdgeElastic. It's been rebranded as Pair Assessment. All right, so we're going to say here in Pair Assessment, we're going to say Create Assessment, and I'm going to say Author a Test. And then you can see I have quite a few options. I'm very excited. We're going to dive into exactly, I lost my train of thought because I'm looking, they've moved the tools. There used to be an upload option.
That is the downside, as we said earlier. They did the same thing with me earlier, is that you're using online tools, and every time you go in, it can be different. So I apologize if things change from the time we record this to the time you're using it and see it. Hopefully all the tools are there. And it's not just true for this episode. That's true for like anything we do.
That's right. So we're going to go and create an assessment. And we're going to jump in here and say Snap Quiz, which is what they're calling this. And we're going to upload. We can either from our computer, and you see it's got the Google Drive integration right there. So we're going to say upload, and we're going to say sample worksheet, which we just grabbed and airdropped. And here it comes. So one of the things to note here, while pair assessment is really about interactivity, real-time information and responses, this version of assessment creation is kind of an in-between where the worksheet itself remains static, but the questions I create that reference the questions on the static worksheet are live and interactive, meaning as a teacher, I can sit and watch on my teacher dashboard students answering the questions live.
I love that.
Our very next episode, we're going to dive into some of these features in a much deeper way. Really excited to showcase some of the features that many of us are not taking advantage of. But for the purpose of this episode, let's go ahead and take a look at how easy it is to create questions. I can choose multiple choice. Obviously, this is not a multiple choice kind of question. text entry. That's what I'm actually looking at here. And so I can go text entry. I'm going to put in my correct answer. And so let's just say the answer was 49, exact match, or I could have variance. I can even attach standards. And this is one of the beauties of this process is I can determine that, this is a evaluating expression type of question here. So we're going to do that. I can assign difficulty level or depth of knowledge. All of this is taggable. And when I say done, I actually should have read the question a little better. It says X equals 6. And you know what's interesting here? I'm noticing there is OCR taking place. So this is new. When I highlight this PDF, you can see that it's reading it because it's highlighting just the text. So very
that's
interesting.
cool.
I'll have to explore that a little more in depth later. X equals 6, so 6 times 7 is 42. So when I go back and create that correct answer, I need to make sure I put 42, not 49. So there we go.
42 is my favorite number. It's a good number.
Hey!
Those that know.
So I can go through and based on the worksheet over here, I'm creating my answer column here. And when I'm done, I can simply assign this assessment. Of course, I have the opportunity to review it first. I can test it out. I can go through all the settings. Once again, I'm saving the settings for our next episode because it is so fantastic. In terms of student feedback, they can see their own graded assessment immediately. Very simple to do. This is an incredibly simple workflow. And so I encourage you to check it out. Genius Scan into Pair Assessment. By the way, quick highlight, Pair Assessment offers a free account status.
Nice.
Where you can do everything I just showed in their free account. So I encourage you to check it out. Great options there. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight a couple of other worksheet to PDF options because we do like to highlight some other possibilities. You can check out TeacherMade at teachermade.com. This will be in our show notes. But it's a platform that allows you to do exactly what I'm showcasing here, and that's converting PDFs into digital worksheets. This one does have a free trial of 30 days. However, it does cost. And so what I shared with Pair Assessment does not. Here's another one. This is called QuestGen. The website will be in the show notes, questgen.ai. And their highlight is creating quizzes from PDFs using AI. And they showcase that they do that with a single click.
This is the kind of stuff.
Fully tested it.
This is the kind of stuff I'm really excited about. The use of AI is just these little shortcuts, the grading, the assessment creation, that I think will be really valuable.
And we're right there on the cusp, aren't we? I mean, I'm sure there's some of these incredible tools out there that have literally been born yesterday, and we just haven't come across them yet. Yeah. But the landscape is changing that quickly. It is
so quick.
Last one I'll drop to you here, and then I'll throw it back to you, Desmond. QuizGecko.com, generating questions from PDFs. So this would be more for if you have a PDF with content, you can upload the PDF, and it will evaluate that using AI and generate questions based on the content you've created. So some neat tools there to check out.
I've definitely used just straight chat GPT to do that, but it's cool to have an education specific one for that.
Absolutely.
That's cool. I wanted to show a quick one that I found useful, and that is PDF Candy. It's just pdfcandy.com, I think. Hold on before I... Yes. Showed my notes briefly. pdfcandy.com. And they boast to have more than 46 online tools. And I think all of them are free, although I think they have some way that you might pay for some stuff, but I never felt a need to. And it's everything from compressing your PDF to JPEG to PDF, PDF to JPEG, removing pages. Some of these things, like when you go to edit a PDF, it is kind of a pain to do some of these things. And I know that we're talking about paper to digital. So maybe I'm off topic just a little, except that PDFs, while they're useful, we're kind of the intermediate thing, often the first version of a digital something, and it almost feels like you're using paper on a digital device. So that's why I got wrapped up into this. And the one that I found most useful is extracting images. So I use that quite regularly. And you'll oftentimes have an image trapped within a PDF that you want to be able to use. Yeah, I think we all have more often. And there's a lot of ways to get that out, but this is the simplest way to do it. It'll give you a folder with all the images, every single ones you didn't even know were there. All the images that are in a document, you can just grab those and go. And I find that really a useful tool.
What I'm loving here, I'm checking this out as you're talking.
Yeah.
Totally free. That's amazing for all that it does. It's a free tool. Yeah.
And I don't think it's an education specific one. Oftentimes the free ones, I guess there is no paid anything. Maybe I imagine that.
Any upgrade option. Sign up and away you go.
Yeah. And a lot of these things, if the education is specific, they're free, but then they have paid versions for other things.
That was a great share.
Yeah. I got that from, I think, FETC like a decade ago. Wow. It was a good one.
Relevant.
Yes. The Future of Education Technology Convention, we went to it in January. You should go too. It's a great convention. Usually in Orlando, Florida. Anyways, not an ad. I just want to kind of wrap up this discussion by sharing that if you want to dig deeper, I created it a while ago, but it's the same method that I just showed today on Adventist Learning Community, which is our parent organization that sponsors this podcast exclusively.
Shout out ALC.
Shout out ALC. We love you. I created a course back in 2020, paper to digital transformation assignment. Check out the Adventist Learning Community. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's AdventistLearningCommunity.com if you want to go to their homepage. And then I also, on my personal website, Signify.one, I create a simpler tutorial that takes you through step-by-step in the process on how to change your paper assignments and paper documents into digital resources, Google Docs specifically. And so I hope those were useful for you.
We want to thank you for joining us on today's journey into EdTech Unpacked as we talked about how teachers can upgrade their paper assignments and activities instead of simply throwing them away.
All right. And today our discussions, we talked about the themes of there's value in adapting physical assignments to digital. It is easy by using tools like Google Docs to transform those. And check out the paper to digital assignments along with the assessment tools that Aaron showed us.
And hey, we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to encourage you. Send your EdTech problems and questions that we'd love to help solve to our help desk. And we might just address it on a future episode. You can do that by visiting our website, edtechunpacked.com, where we have a special place for you to submit your audio recordings as well as a contact form to submit your questions.
I just want to leave you with a blessing, as we always do on this podcast. I want to remind you to lean on your experience. Don't feel like you are less of a teacher if you're not doing these things. Don't feel like you're less of a teacher if you are, not doing as much as the person next to you. Use the experience that you have to enhance and make your assignments and assessments even more powerful. The fact that you're listening to this means that you are already a teacher who wants to continue and grow and develop. And man, that alone means that you're awesome and you are a great teacher. And please use that to continue to bless your students. And remember, there is no substitute for great teaching. It is not just about the tools and technology you use, but how you foster meaningful relationships with your students to transform their lives. We pray that you are blessed.